In this video, I'm going to show you 4 things that could very well take away that pain from your sciatic nerve. So if you're one of those people that suffer from sciatic pain, it could be from a whole bunch of different reasons. It doesn't necessarily mean that the problem is where the nerves are. It could be just how your body is trying to position itself against the forces of gravity, whether it's from spraining an ankle to wrenching a shoulder to even getting whiplash in a car accident. It's just the fact that the nerves that are down in the lower back and the lumbar vertebrae into the sacrum, that branch of nerves that come out and run down the backside of one hip all the way down your leg, known as the sciatic nerve, well, it could be that that's just where the pain is being felt. Well, what we're going to try and do is get your whole body to be in better alignment, to open up the space in that low back sacral area, and in so doing, maybe, just maybe, we might find some relief in that sciatic area. Now, this isn't for every single sufferer of sciatic pain, because that would be trying to treat a headache from eating ice cream too fast, the same way that you might treat a headache from hitting your head into a cabinet. The reason for the headache is going to be different, so you may have to treat it differently. But nonetheless, we'll get started. I've got a volleyball here that anything that's about this wide that has a little give to it will suffice. What we're going to have you do is lie down upon your back so that your knees are bent at about right angles and your feet are flat on the floor. Your head's going to relax on the ground, and we're going to put that ball between the knees, preferably with your arms out on the floor, whether the palms are face down if you can, or a little easier to face them up. You're going to squeeze the ball for 1 full second with both knees and then relax. Squeeze firmly and then relax. Now, if you're doing it properly, you should begin to feel the muscles toward the inner thigh and groin start to do the majority of the work. And really what we're doing is we're taking the thigh bones and pulling them in at one end while pulling them gently outward at the other end, creating space on the backside of the pelvis. Now, I might do somewhere around 10 repetitions to start with, and then over time, maybe build up to 15, 20, or even 25 repetitions at a time. And I might start with just 1 set initially, but then also, over the course of days or weeks, build up to 2 or 3 sets also. Now, once I'm done with that, we'll just move that ball away. You're going to take one ankle and cross it right over the opposite knee. And from this position, you're going to lift the legs up and hold so that the knee that is right here is directly above the hip. Now, if this is too tight for some of us, you might want to take the foot that's in the air here and place it against a chair or a wall, something to prop or support it upon. The goal here is to hold this for a little while until you start to feel the tension become reduced. For most people, that takes about 30 seconds to a minute. After which time, just bring it down, switch legs, and do the same thing on the opposite side. And what you'll most likely experience, like I am now, is that the side you choose second is often the side that's the most restricted, or the one that you feel much more muscle tension in. And it may be that this is the side you want to support a little bit more than the other, or at least hold for a bit longer until you feel that muscle relax. Most likely you're going to feel it on the back side of the leg that's crossed. And you'll notice I'm not using my hands. Often is the case that people will reach through and they'll pull to achieve a greater stretch sensation. But they're also pulling their head out of alignment, rounding their shoulders in an effort to do something else, kind of sacrificing one for the other. So that's why we want to keep the arms out, the head relaxed, and so on, and maintain that position. So once the desired time has transpired and you've felt the muscles release and relax, you'll still have the ankle crossed over the knee. But now what you'll do is pivot from the foot that's on the floor as if it's like a hinge on a door. And it's going to slowly lower the leg all the way to the ground so it can relax. The other leg, meanwhile, is going to gently press away from the body so it points up toward the ceiling. The arms are still out away from your body and relaxed on the floor, and if anything, you can turn your head in the opposite direction that the hips are rotated. After a little while, relaxing into that pose, you can rotate up and then perform the same movement on the opposite side. Now, when getting off the floor, you may want to take your time because you've been laying there for a little while doing those 3 movements. But then once you get up, walk around and just see, what does that feel like? Is there more freedom of movement? What's the sensation going down the hips and, for that matter, down your legs or wherever you might feel that sciatic referral? Then what you'll need to do is find a stairway or step at home, some object that's going to be a little bit off the floor, and another object that you can hold on with both hands, something like this handrail. What really works well is if you're in the kitchen, use the kitchen sink or the countertop to hold on to. And if you're in your office, well, you can open up your office door and hold on to both doorknobs on either side of the door while standing on maybe on a phone book. And what we're going to be doing here is I'm going to put my front of my feet up on that elevated surface with my heels dangling off. And I'm going to maintain a nice tall posture so that my head is over my shoulders and my shoulders are over my hips. Hips are over the knees and the ankles. So if I were to take a ruler from the middle of my skull, I would hope to see that that ruler drops right down to my ankles and all the load-bearing joints of my body are in alignment with that ruler. And I'm just going to allow my body weight to sink deep into the heels and hang out here for maybe 30 seconds to a minute or two, just allowing my body to feel what it's like to stack all of the proper joints on top of each other. That means that my bones are going to now support my weight of my body and not feel compressed into the nerves or muscle tissue. In fact, when you step down off of that and walk around, you're most likely going to feel lighter, taller, yet more grounded. And most likely, we're going to feel a great reduction in that sciatic pain symptom. And it's just a symptom. It may not necessarily be where the problem lies, but if you're in a position where you're feeling it and it's not feeling good, give these 4 positions a try, these 4 exercises, if you will, and try them once. Make sure that there's no increase in pain, because that's going to tell you that maybe one of those exercises is not necessarily what you need at this moment. But if you feel better from doing these 4, then I would recommend doing them as often as you can and getting yourself out of a seated environment or a position where you're not moving the body very much, whether you're counter staff, working behind the counter of a coffee bar or whatnot, or if you're an office worker, any environment where you're stuck in one place for a long period of time is probably not what you need. You got to get out and get that body moving. But these 4 are a great place to start. Let me know how it goes.